right. Welcome back. Another session with Coach Calloway over here. Today, I really want to talk about why it is I became a life coach and share a little bit about my why behind it. I think having a why behind what it is you're doing is extremely important. And we'll get to that and kind of come full circle towards the end of the video. So I've already talked about my athletic background and being a professional volleyball player. Unfortunately, my career was cut short due to some injuries, and I didn't really go out on my own terms. My life took a different direction in a lot of ways. And just to be, transparent and vulnerable here. So I'm playing volleyball in Romania. The American that I went out there with, he left after 48 hours of us signing our contract, flying halfway across the world and doing a couple practices, seeing our living conditions. He was like, I've made a mistake. I shouldn't be here. And, I can't blame him. Playing professional volleyball when you're not, All-American, superstar with Team USA on your back, it's not the most glorifying thing. It's still a pretty amazing experience if you're able to learn and, find the best in things. Having said that, yeah, our living conditions weren't very, very good. We arrived at Romania after flying, all night, getting jacked up on the hours, to a super hot apartment, and mosquitoes are biting us. It literally looked like we had some fucking disease and we were both sick. It was a miserable start. The beds were too small. Practice was rough. We're just running a bunch. I'm like, literally going to throw up. I've never thrown up doing anything conditioning related my whole life, but I literally threw up practicing. And so the other American, he's like, I'm out of here. He bought his flight ticket home, paid the team back, I believe, for the flight out there as well. And one, I didn't have the means to do that. Two, I know, having already played a previous year in Estonia, that if you do something like that, like, your volleyball career is done. No European team's going to re-sign you, more than likely, if you leave within the first week of getting out there. So I had aspirations to, have a really good year and move on and, kind of move up in leagues or get to a better team. So I was like, I'm sticking this out. So once again, I'm now in a foreign country all alone with no one else that speaks, fluent English, not like me, no other American that can relate to me. And, Estonia is pretty USA friendly. Like, a lot of people speak English. Romania is not quite the same. It's a little bit tougher, a little bit more of a language barrier. So, I stuck it out, and I played through lots of injuries, and it got to the point where pretty much all of my ball socket joints had just blown out labrums. I had surgery on my left shoulder in college, still didn't, never got back to 100%. I knew from having my left shoulder go through what I went through that my right shoulder was pretty much, toast as well. And this is how I swing. I swing with my right shoulder. I think this might be flipped. The image might be flipped. So this is my right shoulder. This is my left shoulder. And my hips too were pretty much shot. My hips were never properly looked at in college, to be honest. And, I knew they felt like impingements, but it just felt like something was seriously wrong. The mobility and strength and all that was just jacked. So, anyway, I'm in Romania and warming up for a match. I go to do a jump serve and I just feel this big pop in my hip. And I was like, shit. So there it went, and it was a bunch of drama, with Romania, and I'll tell that maybe another time. I don't want to get too far into the details. We're already 5 minutes in. But long story short, I was engaged to somebody at the time from college, my college girlfriend, and she also broke up with me. Just said, I just can't do this anymore. So I knew my body was failing me, my relationship was over, and I was supposed to come back home to the U.S. in, for my brother's wedding, my younger brother's wedding. So a lot of shit just hit the fan, and I got to a pretty dark place, as one can imagine. And when I really decided that, I'm going to hang up volleyball, I had this massive identity crisis where I put so much of my worth as a human, my self-worth, into achievement. And that achievement and everything I've been working toward was put into volleyball. It was really the only thing I cared about excelling at for a long time. So knowing that this isn't what I'm going to be pursuing anymore, and any hopes of trying to make, the national team, which I don't think even many people were considering me for that, but that was always something that I thought I was capable of doing if I was healthy and, given an opportunity to show what I can do. So having that kind of come crashing down on my head, it was like, I feel worthless. I don't feel like I have anything good going for me. I don't want to talk to anybody about anything because I don't have anything good to say. And I kind of fell into nihilism and just thought nothing mattered and everything was pointless. So through that struggle and what was my rock bottom in life, I needed help. And I've kind of gone through some phases in my life of relying on other people to saying fuck it, I can do this on my own. I can't depend on anyone else. And there's some truth to that. Like, you have to be your own biggest advocate, because no one realistically is going to be a bigger advocate for you than yourself. And if you're expecting someone to, it's just not really, it's not very realistic. At least that's my take. So I knew I needed some help. And I luckily have a good support system in a family, and they helped connect me with, a pastor that was amazing influence on me. I'm not super religious. And again, I might go into that another day, or I'll talk about it for sure at length on the podcast way out there. So you can check that out as well. But he really helped kind of pull me out of some darkness and was very understanding of what my situation was and what I was going through. And, I started going to therapy as well. So I think therapy can be extremely useful. And, a lot of people were helping me in the ways I needed to start kind of working towards building myself up again. And that's kind of the reason why, one of the reasons why I want to be a life coach is because I know that other people are also going through that. And it brings me great joy to help somebody with that. Sorry, I had some crying child to attend to. But, what I was saying is, I know people need help out there. And I have a video coming up that's like, what kind of life coach am I? And an additional video that'll be coming out of who it is that, I'm looking to help. And the short answer is everybody. But, specifically, I think the niche that I could do the most for immediately to kind of gain experience and have the most validity in helping them is, athletes that are kind of struggling with the same thing that I went through. I think a lot of athletes have an identity crisis and a little bit of an oh shit moment, life is over, when really, it's just your athletic career's over. So I'll kind of go into that, in those videos more. But at the end of the day, it's like, I really want to be able to help people that need it, that want that help. And maybe they don't know where to turn. And they think there's something wrong with them, and they think life's over, when really your life's not over. One of my favorite, quotes or ideas from Mr. Napoleon Hill is that, the biggest limitation we put on ourselves the biggest limitation we have is the one that we put on ourselves. So I know I was at a point where I thought, when I was an athlete and literally in pain every day, struggled to walk upstairs, and from knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, just everything hurt all the time. I got so used to that. I thought that's just what life was going to be. And I got to a point where I was like, it doesn't have to be like that. I was like 25, 26 at the time. And it's like, you could live till you're 85, 95, if you're a pretty healthy young guy. If you start building the right habits, then you can live a really long and fulfilled life. So I kind of started switching up my mentality, and through reading some different books, I really started having my own life purpose kind of come together. So that's really what it is in a nutshell, that, I feel my purpose in life is to help others figure out what the purpose to their life is and to live a more meaningful life. And I believe that I have, the life experience, the temperament, and the will to be able to really help some people to do that. Selfishly, I wanted to become a life coach because I think it makes me the best version of myself as well. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. When I started thinking, I think I really want to be a life coach, I was absolutely in no position to give anybody life advice on anything. But since then, over the past 3 years, I've really started building my life up piece by piece, block by block, to have a strong foundation. And I feel like I have a very solid method to help, to do that. And I've seen the results in my own life, and everything's improving exactly as I want it to. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than you might think. But, I have a foundation that's solid, that works for me. And I've been putting in the work to make myself, the 2.0 version of me, the one that I envision that is going to be able to do everything that it is that I want to accomplish. What does Matt look like that is going to be able to change the world? What would that Matt need to be able to do? How would he act? What would he think? What would he look like? All these things, and tying it together and striving towards that. And like I said before, I'm a constant work in progress. So that's going to be an ever changing thing that, ideally you're improving day to day. Sometimes you take some steps backwards, but the idea is always moving forward and being grateful for each day we're given. So, being a life coach inspires me to lead by example, to live the healthiest, most meaningful life I can. And if I weren't doing that, if I ever stopped doing that, then I would be a fraud. I wouldn't be a good life coach. I'm not going to be a life coach that tells you what to do. I'm not going to tell you to be fit, not tell you not to read, tell you to read, tell you, to do all these things. And then here I am just being a fat piece of shit, for lack of better words. So, another big thing is that, like, I know how good it feels to be living a life of purpose. And that's different. That is literally different for every single individual. But once you find out what it is that gives your life meaning and you start taking steps towards it, your life completely changes in the most amazing, magical way. So if I can help even one person do that, or let alone a great number of people to do that, I think it would make a huge impact on making this world a better place. Because, there's philosophical debate about, what's the best way to, is it macro or micro scale, individual or societal scale, that makes a place better? But it seems to me that the most realistic thing to change and control is yourself. So starting with the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson said, is, I think, a pretty good idea. And if a lot of people worried about themselves, were selfish in a positive way and took care of themselves, I think it would allow them to take care of a lot of other people, the ones they care about. And it would have a pretty big ripple effect, and make a lasting effect on society. The more people that are doing exactly what it is they want to be doing, and they're helping people while they're doing it, I mean, the compound effect of that is I don't even think it's really comprehensible. So let me see here. Obviously I've been talking, it's meaningful to me. And one of my favorite quotes as well is from Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, where he says, he who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. And I think that's extremely true. I think that when you have an appropriate why and a meaning to your life, then it ultimately doesn't matter what life throws at you. You're going to be able to take it. And I'm not going to say take it in stride. I mean, there's going to be bumps in the road. And, even since feeling rejuvenated in my own purpose, there's been many times where I've fallen off the horse and it's taken months to get back on. And the idea for me is to shorten that amount of time every time I fall off to get right back on. I've heard recently a couple times, I might even said it last video, that in gymnastics, and I don't know if this is true because I'm 6'7", I definitely didn't do any gymnastics. But what I've heard, and it makes sense, is that, when a young kid falls off the pommel horse or the beam or whatever it is, it's like get back on right away, because when you spend time off, the fear starts to creep in. And I'll dive into what fear can be useful. But when you let fear dominate you, I think it's pretty much a recipe for disaster. And that's how Napoleon Hill and the devil, in him interviewing the devil, described how he takes control over us and really manipulates us. And I think that's also evident in, what the media can do. And when we are being plagued with fear and worry, then we're kind of unable to control what we can. When life feels so overwhelming and it's like, it doesn't feel like I can really make a difference here, you just have to go and start with the first thing, and that's yourself. So I think that's about right on time. I wanted to rep the Packers windbreaker here because my boys have made it to the playoffs. They smoked Dallas. Jordan Love, my man, having an epic game. Perfect passer rating for first time for a rookies, or for like the first playoff game for a quarterback ever. So he's had an up and down season, but I wanted to rep my Green Bay, my Cheeseheads. Not that that's relevant at all, but that's how these videos go. And you don't edit it and it's all just kind of one take. I'll probably say a bunch of stupid stuff, but as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And, even more importantly, if you think there's anyone that that might get some value from this, or they might be needing this, go ahead and share the video with them, because that's really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help as many people as possible. So if there's any value that you think someone that you love and care about could gain from this, then go ahead and share the video with them. And if you guys have any comments, questions, please go ahead, drop them down below. If you made it to the end of the video, tell me what you liked. I would love to interact with some of you guys. And if you have any comment suggestions of what you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear about, go ahead and let me know as well. So thanks for being here, and we will see you next time. Take care.